All right, tonight we're welcoming Dave Monsch to the show. Welcome. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're excited to pick your brain about all things music tonight.
Yes. Tell us where you're coming to us from.
Dallas, Texas.
All right.
Okay. How's your weather down there?
Today it's good. Yesterday it was blowing really
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
Us too. Us
Yeah.
too. Yeah, we had like blizzard conditions.
It's like crazy winds. I wonder if that was like all down through the middle of the country.
Yeah.
It's just been nuts lately.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, let's just get started picking your brain. So first, tell us what you are currently working on.
Well, I don't have any right now. I have a few songs that I haven't fleshed out yet, but they're in a working stage. You know, a lot of the time when I come up with an idea, I'll I might I might sing it into my phone, or if I don't have if I'm not around an instrument, you know, I'll do that. And then also I will sometimes sit down at the piano and figure something out. A lot of it happens. I'll just be playing my saxophone and kind of stumble across an idea and then go from there.
Very cool.
So you mentioned piano. We know you play saxophone and also flute. Do you play other instruments?
I play clarinet and I play all the saxophones,
Nice.
and bass clarinet and alto flute. And my piano skills are very pedestrian.
Do you find that each of those instruments kind of translates well with the others? Like,
Uh,
was it easy to pick up different instruments?
in ways, there's a lot of similarities in ways, but then sometimes it's like between the saxophone and the clarinet, some of the fingerings line up to be the same, and but then some are like you finger it the same way, but if you drop your thumb, then it changes it, to a different register.
How did you get started in music? What led you to this path?
Well, I grew up a lot of musicians in my family. Not all professionals, but everybody loved music and a lot of singing and at family events and stuff like that. And my parents both are musicians, and my mother plays piano and played organ in the church, and my dad directed choirs, and he's also a piano player. He went to school for classical piano.
Do you sing too?
Uh, Not really. That's something I want to try to incorporate. So
Cool. Tell us about making your debut album. So I know it's been out for a couple of years, but tell us all about that because I know it's your first solo debut album.
yeah. So I came across. Well, I mean, I worked with a great friend of mine named David Pierce, and he collaborated with Jason Vandegrift, and those guys got together and made an album called The Lord Baltimore's. So, so we had recorded all these songs that they had collaborated on, and I was featured on a good number of solos on this album. And so then Jason wanted to approach me to do a jazz album on his record label, Lucky Buck Records. So and I had been writing music that was during the pandemic, so I had written most of those songs were written during the pandemic. A couple were written just a little prior, and a couple were from that I wrote a long time ago, but hadn't really. I'd recorded one of them before, but yeah. So it all came about pretty well, except for the pandemic. But I mean, it was helpful
Yeah.
enough. It was helpful of having time to just sit down and find a way
Yes.
to not lose your mind. And
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But it sounds like it came about pretty organically, moving from working with others to doing your own thing, which is cool and exciting.
yeah, it was a great situation. It just presented itself to me. So it
So a
was
lot of times we talk to songwriters who are also lyricists, and so you're a little different and unique on our show this time
Yes.
because you're doing it from an instrumental perspective. So tell us how you see a song from start to finish.
Yeah.
well, it kind of varies on the song, on my album, like An Irish Farewell, I kind of had a theme in mind on that. I started with the melody, and it reminded me of like a sea shanty, you
Mhm.
know. So I kind of had this idea of somebody sailing off, saying goodbye, and then and kind of having an adventure, and then well, probably not coming back. But
Do all songs work that way as like a story when you're doing purely instrumental? Do you see a story within the music?
yeah, in ways, like Ruby's Dance is it's written for my dog, who does a little dance,
I love it.
and so it kind of mimics her behavior, and
Oh
uh
my
and
gosh.
very joyful song, so
I love that.
I do
I would have
too.
never guessed that it was about your dog.
No, but I
Listening
love
to it,
it.
I was like, "Oh, I love this. It's a great little tune." But then now I know it's about your dog. I love it even more. There's dog people.
Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. So I was going to ask, when you're writing, where do you draw inspiration from? But it sounds like everywhere.
yeah, I mean, so the song Joe Osmosis, it's an homage to Joe Henderson, really, because he's a saxophonist that I listened a lot to, and when I wrote that song, I was just listening to a whole bunch of his music, and so I wrote this song, and I thought, it really sounds like a Joe Henderson kind of melody.
Very cool.
So a tip of the hat to him with the title. And
That's cool. So you don't generally start with the title, though. You start with the music and kind of the story, and then it gets a title. Does that sound right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, uh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Sometimes I have an idea of the theme, but I don't come up with a title and then try to write a song around it. No.
Okay. Yeah.
That's so interesting to me because we are lyricists. We write a lot of the lyrics, and we're kind of learning the music part of
Mhm.
it. So a lot of times when I'm writing, the title kind of comes to me first, or at least the
Hook or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
and which I guess would be also considered the theme.
Yeah.
And so it's neat for us to see how it is the different perspective from someone who is doing the music part of it rather
Yes.
than the lyrics part of it.
Yeah,
So
it's fascinating to
yeah,
me. I love it.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's kind of a different take on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's very unique to other people that we've had on the show, and so it's a learning experience for us.
Yes.
So when you get stuck on a song, how do you get yourself unstuck? And what does that look like from the music perspective?
I mean, like, I have a couple songs that I kind of half wrote, and later I realized, oh, well, you know what, these two songs could kind of go together. So, it might be, the A section might have been this one idea that I started with, and then it was like, oh, that song would be nice, for the B section. So sometimes I'll kind of Frankenstein two songs together if it feels right. I don't go out of my way to do that, but it happened on a couple songs, you know. And yeah, so that's one way I go at it.
Like that. If you oh gosh, the train just left the station. I was gonna ask you something right about then. It totally left my brain. So I'll just skip ahead to a different question, which is, if you're not doing music, where can we find you? What other things are you into?
Well, I I do carpentry.
Oh, wow.
And I've been working on old sailboats.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah. That's quite the difference, but also a creative outlet, which is cool.
Yeah, I started sailing and like in 2017, and I'd never done it before, but really, to me, it's the closest thing that I've come across to improvising
Oh.
Yeah. So
because you're
oh, I was just gonna say, do you do that for yourself or other people? You fix them for yourself or for other people?
oh well, right now I mean both,
Okay.
but just the act of sailing itself, is very much to me like improv, improvisation, because you're constantly adjusting to everything that's happening, just like in a group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of places to sail in or near Dallas?
Well, there's a lake right in the city. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never been to Dallas, so that's
Just
I'm
the airport.
sorry, where are you located?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
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 We're landlocked here. I mean, we have some lakes, but they're mostly man-made.
Yeah. It's
Not a lot of sailing.
no, not a lot of sailing. It's more like motorboats.
Your
and
fishing boats,
fishing,
yeah. But
yeah.
sailing is a really cool art that I know some people in Colorado that sail, and they said the same thing, that it's just like you get out there and you kind of do your own thing, and that's
Yeah.
I
So
like it.
it helps, kind of free up my mind, and sometimes I come up with ideas.
I'll
And
bet that's a great place for inspiration. It's
I would
beautiful.
think so.
Yeah.
It's your question.
Okay. If you had to describe your music to our listeners who haven't heard you yet, how would you describe it?
Well, I mean, on that album, there's a lot of variation on it. There's some that's kind of just kind of blue note, straight ahead jazz. And then say the song Waves, it's what's much more, I don't know, almost a classical edge to it. And then there's some world influences, calypso and so I mean, I have another band called Flipside, and we do a lot of more avant-garde, and
Fun.
well, and actually the drummer and the bassist on this album, that the three of us, that's Flipside.
Oh, fun. Cool.
And then Brad on piano. So we play as a quartet. And then David Pierce, who I mentioned earlier, he plays trombone on it and accordion. So
Yeah, it is a very eclectic album for sure.
Pulling from different styles, and for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because you were talking about like world sounds, obviously with the Irish Farewell. I mean, it's got kind of a Celtic feel. So yeah, definitely eclectic. All right, we're going to ask you our 4 questions that we ask everyone in season 4.
Oh,
And the first is, what was your first gig and your best or favorite gig that you've done?
wow. The first gig that I recall was not good. I was in high school and we got hired for this thing, and the bass player, I got his number from somebody else, and I called him, and he didn't really have any idea what he was getting into, playing with some high school kids.
Oh my gosh.
And he ended up leaving, which wasn't really cool.
No, that's
so
totally not cool.
that's the first like professional gig that I recall. And what was the second part?
Your best or favorite gig so
Wow.
far?
That's a really hard one. Do other people stumble upon this
They
one?
do. Some people do. And I also said, like, if you had a favorite place that you ever played.
Yeah, or a standout show that you've done.
I mean, You know what? I had some good times. I was playing with BJ Thomas for a while, and those were fun gigs.
Oh, sorry.
Thought I shut that off.
And
Okay.
yeah, I was sorry to lose him. You know, he died a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that would be
where
it.
did you have the fortune to play with him?
I'm sorry.
Oh, where were you lucky enough to be able to play with him at?
We would play. You know, he lived in Arlington, so we would do some shows around here, and in the general area. You know, we would in the kind of around, you know, a couple 100-mile radius of Dallas.
Okay.
So
Very cool.
those were fun gigs, and I mean that's, you know, just the one that popped in my mind. I mean, one thing that we used to do was really not, I mean, it was a tiny little dive bar, but called the Winedale Tavern, and that band Flipside that I was telling you about, that's where we cut our teeth. Every Sunday we played there for years. And
Great.
that's actually the name of the
I'm gonna
album.
say, hence the title.
Yeah, strutting at the Winedale. And so that was like, you know, I mean, it was a tiny little dive bar, really a shotgun little bar, but it sounded great, and we just were able to do whatever we wanted, you know.
But it was a lot of fun
Yeah.
too.
Sometimes those little places are the best. They're so intimate, and
Yep,
you know, you can connect with people there, and I think that's fantastic.
I do too.
Okay, question number 2 of the 4. Who are your influences?
Sonny Rollins for sure. Joe Henderson, who I mentioned earlier. Ben Webster, big fan of that. I mean, these are all guys from way back. You know, there's more contemporary guys, Chris Potter. I used to listen to Chris Potter and Dave Douglas, and they did a lot of stuff that it was pretty free. And yeah, so and like big band music. I mean, I'm big into Count Basie and Duke Ellington, and you know, Harry Connick is great, and yeah. So I mean, that's a lot of the jazz that I listen to, you know, and those are some of my biggest influences, I would say.
Nice. And that's exciting for me to hear because I admittedly do not know all that much about jazz. So I'm like, okay, I'm taking a mental note for all these people to look up so that I can learn more about it. So I love to ask that question because inevitably there's always someone I'm like, oh, I've never heard of them. I'm going to look them up.
Yes,
So
we learn so much from all of you that come on our show.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
So what are you listening to currently on repeat?
You know what? I listened to several times over the past couple weeks is Nathaniel Rateliff, live at Red Rocks.
Oh, cool.
Red Rock. And it's a beautiful recording. And they recorded that at Red Rock, but there was nobody there because it was during
during the pandemic?
But it was a live recording,
gosh.
and it's it's really powerful. Yeah, you should check it out.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
for sure.
I love them. So
and I love Red Rocks.
yeah,
So
it's amazing.
All right. Another one to write down.
Now, if you could give advice to a new musician, what would you tell them?
Oh, well, if you're going to try to do this for a living, you better really, really want to do it because it's tough. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I mean, I didn't like when I went to college for music, and I mean, I don't know if I would do that now or not. You know, I might just try to, you know, maybe go and take some courses and meet people. But I don't know. It's so expensive to end up with a jazz performance degree, you know. And I didn't get an ed degree because I didn't want something to fall back on. But it is a good idea to have something to fall back on. I mean, right now, I mean, I supplement my income with carpentry and things like that. I used to teach private lessons, and I was a part-time band director for a little while at a charter school, and that I just fell into that job because I had no experience with that, so that was a tough one. But yeah, make sure you pursue something that you love, and really put everything into it, and practice and meet people, and try to be easy to be around.
That's great.
That's
a
great
great.
advice.
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now it's time for your shameless plug. Where can we find your music? Where can we find you on socials, or website, any of that stuff?
My website is davemonsch.com.
Cool.
Very cool.
And yeah, you can find it there. And then on the flip side, flip side the band,
Yes.
flipsidetheband.com and davemonsch.com.
Very cool.
Well, Dave, thank you so
my
much
gosh.
for taking the time with us tonight. It has been amazing to meet you and learn from you. I'm
Yes.
fascinated by your musical
And
prowess.
uber talent.
Yes.
So,
Oh, well,
yeah.
thank you so much. It was a real pleasure.